Well, greetings interwebs. Today we're doing a reaction to a video by the Fat Electrician. He's talking about bat bombs of World War II. Now, I've always been a big fan of history, especially obscure history, and how it pertains to military stuff and things leading up to the big historical events we know about. Well, I knew about the bat bombs, but I didn't know all the details. Basically, they strap fire bombs to bats and drop them over Japan. But the program apparently got canceled because, hey, here comes the atom bomb, we don't need them anymore. Well, the Fat Electrician, I don't know if you know his channel, but you really should get to it. He does amazing historical videos. And today we're going to be reacting to his video about the bat bomb. So, stand by.
Today we're talking about the only animal-based weapon of mass destruction ever conceived. Ladies and gentlemen, America's bat bomb.
Boom.
Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.
As many of you are probably aware, at the end of World War II, America was looking for a new super weapon that could prematurely end the war. Option A was always the atomic bomb. Option B was, well, that was also the atomic bomb. But option C involved 1 million free-tailed Mexican bats and napalm. No, I'm not making this up. I read the entire book to get ready for this video. Okay, here's the deal. It's not really a bomb, it's a giant bird cage that looks like a bomb, and inside of each one of these cages was 1,040 free-tailed Mexican bats that had a napalm incendiary device super glued to their chest that was rigged to go off with a timer.
Okay, that's a lot of bats.
The idea was to do a bombing run at dawn, releasing a bunch of these canisters. After being released, they would travel down several thousand feet before deploying a parachute. This would both slow down the cage and open it so all the bats could fly away. And because they were doing this bombing run at dawn, all the bats would immediately try to find somewhere to roost for the day so they could go to bed. And since they're bats, that's always going to be some dark, hard-to-reach nook or cranny like an attic, and given that Japan was made pretty much exclusively out of wood and paper at that point in time, presented an enormous issue in 2 hours when those bats would burst into flames and presumably light an entire city on fire. Bah! Does this hurt the bat? Bah! Yes, this
hurts the bat.
Okay, just don't tell PETA. I don't need them coming after me with their frail, anemic wrath. I mean, realistically, they're gonna find this video anyways, because one of them's gonna be Googling bath bombs. Google's gonna be like, oh, did you mean bat bombs? And they watch my video. Now it's demonetized, so we're gonna have to have a sponsor. Ladies and gentlemen, this video is brought to you by JX Tactical, makers of my personal favorite holster, their trademarked Fat Guy holster. It allows you to carry a firearm and have a little bit extra room for tactical fluff. Anyways, back to these bat bombs. Now, I think we can all agree that this idea is so fucking stupid that it's genius, so who is the madman that came up with it? Ladies and gentlemen, a dentist and part-time inventor from Pennsylvania by the name of Lytle S. Adams. A man whose other inventions included a fried chicken vending machine and a way to pick up mail by plane without having to land the plane. So clearly, things are starting to add up. In January of 1942, he would write a letter to the White House, and let me tell you, it is one of the letters of all time. It opens up pretty strong with,
arbitrarily
and I quote,
write a letter to the White
"Shall the sun
House
set quickly over the land of the rising sun, with a dawn visit at a convenient time in an appropriate way." He then goes on to, in detail, explain that bats are the lowest form of life in the animal kingdom, and that he is thoroughly convinced that they were placed on Earth by God to help America win World War II with a bat.
Well, of course they were.
Clearly a well-balanced individual. I mean, we're talking about manifest destiny for bats, for Christ's sake. In the letter, he then goes on to, in detail, explain why this is such a good idea. Bats are faster than birds. They can carry twice their weight. You can throw them in the fridge so that they go into hibernation, and that'd be a really convenient time to strap a bomb to them. You know, awesome stuff. I think the point I'm trying to get to is there's no way in hell this letter is making it through the screening process at the White House to make it to the president, right? Wrong. Apparently this guy knows Eleanor Roosevelt, mails the letter directly to her, she gives it to FDR, and FDR f***ing loves it. He immediately forwards the letter to his military generals with a note of his own that says, and I quote, "This man is not a nut. It's a perfectly wild idea that we need to look into." And that's it. The president said we're doing it. We're fucking doing it. America's building a bat bomb.
Okay, so that's a pretty hefty endorsement from the President of the United States. This man is not a nut. I wonder if I get the president to write me a letter like that. Of course, I don't think anybody would believe it.
Because a dentist in Pennsylvania said so. All right, fast forward like a year and a half, they figured out how to make the bomb itself. They figured out that they're going to use the Mexican free-tailed bat because it's very fast and very strong. They figured out that they're going to use napalm instead of white phosphorus. They've figured out how to attach the incendiary device to the bat itself. All that's left to do is to test it. And on May 15th, 1943, that's exactly what they're going to do. Needless to say, everybody that knows about it's really excited. All the bigwigs are showing up. There was even a Marine Corps General, Louis DeHaven, that showed up unannounced and uninvited because, well, he's a Marine and he heard that somebody was going to be blowing shit up with bats, and that's just what Marines are into. So they start the first test. They're going to drop 250 bats with...
Having worked on Marine camps in Afghanistan, I can attest that, yeah, if it's crazy but it works,
to see how the bats react to falling out of an airplane. So the bomb drops, the canister's open, the bats take off. They go like 20 miles to some ranch that's near the airfield. They're everywhere. They're in this guy's barn, they're in his attic, they're in his hay. The bat bomb worked perfect. Okay, so test number 2. Now they're going to strap the incendiary devices to the bats, but they're going to de-weaponize them just to see how the bats behave when they're carrying their own body weight worth of explosives. So again, they drop the bomb, the canister's open, the bats take off, but they don't go nearly as far because they're over-encumbered. Instead, they decide to just infest everything on the airfield. They're in the barracks, they're in the airplane hangars, they're underneath the general's car. And then 15 minutes later, they realize that they forgot to de-weaponize them. The bats blow up and burn the entire fucking place to the ground. So the entire Army chain of command that's been in control of this project the entire time freaks out. They decide they're going to terminate the whole thing because obviously it doesn't work. And that's when that Marine Corps general that wasn't even invited, General Louis McHaven, shows up as like, no, it worked perfect. You dumbasses just forgot to de-weaponize the bats. If you don't want it, the Marine Corps is going to take it over because this shit's awesome. And that's pretty much exactly what happens. The United States Marine Corps takes over the entire project, and it becomes known as Project X-Ray. Why'd they call it Project X-Ray? I have no idea, and neither does anybody else. I mean, to be fair, we all knew the Marines were going to be in charge of this at some point. I mean, their entire life motto is it's not stupid if it works, and that's exactly what this project is as a whole. So the Marines went ahead and continued testing.
Okay, looking at that picture, yep, that's a Marine.
So the Marines went ahead and continued testing. They ended up testing it in a mock Japanese village at Dugway Proving Ground, and what they discovered was that the average incendiary bombing run would light about 400 fires. The average bat bombing run would light about 4,700 fires, meaning that the bat bombs were 12 times more effective than a regular incendiary bomb. Okay, look, I'm gonna be honest, I don't think most of you are picking up what I'm putting down. Being 12 times more effective than regular incendiary bombs means that the bat bomb is one of the most effective and most deadly weapons of mass destruction ever created. And I know that sounds stupid, but I promise you it's true. If you were to ask most people what the deadliest bombing run of all time was, guaranteed they would probably guess Hiroshima or Nagasaki. It's a great guess. It's the only time the atomic bomb's ever been used, and it was very deadly. But it was not the deadliest. The deadliest bombing run was done on March 9th, 1945, when America firebombed Japan. More people died from that bombing run than Hiroshima and Nagasaki combined.
I knew we firebombed Japan, but I did not know those numbers. That's impressive, those stats. That one firebombing run was more effective than both atomic bombs combined. Back to the video.
And that was done with regular incendiary bombs. So you can imagine what would happen if bat bombs were dropped, which are theoretically 12 times more effective. It would have been absolutely catastrophic. I realize that we're getting oddly serious, and I apologize, but it absolutely blows my mind that in the biggest military conflict the world has ever seen, in the search for a super weapon, you had a bunch of scientists, the most brilliant minds in the world, that figured out how to split an atom in half, breaking chemical bonds, releasing an immense amount of energy and radiation and destructive force. And then you have the Marines that are like, I need a bomb-shaped colander, 1,000 bats, and some jungle jelly, and somehow the Marines managed to be more deadly. It makes no fucking sense. It's making me question everything, because my entire life I thought Batman was kind of a bitch for being scared of bats. Like, just grow a pair, grab a tennis racket, start Babe Ruth in those motherfuckers, and move on with your life. But no, as it turns out, Batman was right. Bats are absolutely terrifying, and it's all because some dentist taught the Marines how to turn them into a WMD, and I have no idea how to end this video. So I guess if you made it this far down this weird history rabbit hole, thanks for watching. Best way to support the channel is go buy some merch at thefatelectrician.com. Quack bang, out.
Boom. There you have it. Okay, let's talk about it. The Marines. A crazy idea, but they see how it works. Yeah, that's the Marines. When I was in Trashkanistan, like I said, I worked on Marine camps. And all the other camps were constantly, again, rocket attacks, sniper attacks, just attack every day, constantly. I slept like a baby. We never had an issue. We were right outside. Right outside the base wall was the local bazaar, and we never had an issue. So I started asking some of the local Afghans that worked on camp, why are we so safe here? They told me that the Taliban honestly feared U.S. Marines. They didn't fear the Army, ISAF, anybody, but they feared U.S. Marines. They had this impression that if they attacked a Marine camp in any way, the Marines would immediately just glass everything in a 2-mile radius and then go out and see who was shooting at them. So they just stayed away. I'll give you an idea of just how crazy and effective U.S. Marines are. And that's why we send them in everywhere. When there's a problem, they're the first to hit the ground because it's just what they do. And so I didn't know the details about the bat bomb thing. That's very impressive, the amount of damage those bats could do. Far more than I thought they would. I knew they'd burn stuff down because, again, like he said, everything was made of wood and paper. But gee, my nearly 12 times more effective. That's awesome. And of course, when the Army brass didn't see the effectiveness, of course the Marine Corps brass said, ooh, yeah, kill things and break stuff. Awesome, hoorah. Anyway, that's a reaction to the Fat Electrician's bat bomb video. If you'd like to see more reaction videos, this is new, I'm giving it a shot. Leave a comment below, let me know what you think. And if you wouldn't mind, give the video a thumbs up, it really helps. And on that happy note, be seeing you.